And I was reminding him of old times, and he was roaring and laughing, and we get carried away. And then I just get
Back, music lovers. Today we dive deep into the life and legacy of one of the most enigmatic figures in the world of music, Gerry Rafferty. From his soaring highs to his tragic lows, this is the story of a man whose music touched millions. Stay tuned to listen to his whole tragic life. Gerry Rafferty, originally Gerald Rafferty, entered this world on April 16, 1947, right in the heart of Paisley, Renfrewshire, Scotland. Growing up in a blue-collar household, Gerry was born to a family deeply rooted in their Irish Catholic heritage, with both his father and grandfather toiling in the coal mines. He shared his childhood with two brothers, Jim and Joe, in a modest council house located in Fergusley Park. Educated at St. Mirren's Academy, Gerry's formative years were far from smooth sailing. His father's struggle with alcoholism cast a shadow over the family, and his premature death when Gerry was only 16 left a profound impact. Despite these hardships, Gerry found solace and inspiration in the traditional folk tunes passed down through generations of his family, especially through the heartfelt singing of his mother. Fueled by the sounds of legends like the Beatles and Bob Dylan, Gerry embarked on his own musical journey early on. After leaving St. Mirren's Academy in 1963, he juggled various odd jobs including stints at a butcher's civil service clerk, and even a shoe shop. However, it was clear to him that these were merely stops along the way to what he truly desired: a life in music. Teaming up with his schoolmate Joe Egan, Gerry spent weekends honing their skills in a local band called the Mavericks. They rocked the crowds with covers of hits from the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. In the mid-60s, Gerry also took to busking in the bustling London underground, serenading commuters with his guitar and soulful voice. By 1966, he and Joe Egan were part of the Fifth Column, debuting with the single Benjamin Day backed with "There's Nobody Here," although commercial success remained elusive. In 1969, Gerry Rafferty joined forces with comedian Billy Connolly and Tam Harvey to form the folk-pop group The Humble Bums. Their blend of music and humor struck a chord, and after Tam Harvey's departure, Gerry and Billy continued as a duo. They went on to record 2 albums for Transatlantic Records. Their 1970 performance at the Royal Festival Hall received glowing reviews, with critic Carl Dallas likening Rafferty's songwriting to the tender melodies of Paul McCartney. Billy Connolly often fondly reminisced about their time together, sharing stories of Gerry's wit and their adventures on tour in his stand-up routines. However, by 1971, Gerry Rafferty and Billy Connolly went their separate ways. Rafferty signed on as a solo artist under Transatlantic Records. Thanks to owner Nathan Joseph's support, teaming up with producer Hugh Murphy, Rafferty released his debut solo album titled "Can I Have My Money Back?" Billboard praised the album as top-notch folk rock, highlighting it as Rafferty's most impressive work to date, although it didn't achieve significant commercial success at the time. During this period, Gerry Rafferty came across Colin Wilson's book The Outsider, a profound exploration of alienation and creativity. This discovery deeply influenced Rafferty's songwriting and his perspective on life. He openly acknowledged themes of alienation in his music, evident in early tracks like To Each and Everyone from his debut album. In 1972, Gerry Rafferty reunited with Joe Egan to form Stealers Wheel. Their song Make You Break You gained notable airplay, marking a pivotal moment in Rafferty's evolving musical journey. Collaborating with American songwriters and producers Leiber and Stoller, the group recorded 3 albums: Stealers Wheel in 1972, Fergusley Park in 1973, and Right or Wrong in 1975. Stealers Wheel achieved widespread success with their hit single, Stuck in the Middle with You, praised for its unique blend of Beatles-esque melodies, Dylan-inspired lyrics, and Celtic flavor. The song's prominence in the 1992 film, Reservoir Dogs, solidified its status as a classic, though Rafferty declined permission for its re-release. Stealers Wheel also produced other hits like Everyone's Agreed That Everything Will Turn Out Fine and Star, but tracks such as Outside Looking In and Who Cares hinted at Rafferty's growing sense of alienation. The duo disbanded later in 1975, leaving open disputes about the band's remaining contractual recording obligations. Following the dissolution of Stealers Wheel, legal issues prevented Rafferty from releasing any material for 3 years. However, in 1978, after resolving the disputes, he collaborated with producer Hugh Murphy on his second solo album, City to City, featuring the iconic track Baker Street. Despite initial reluctance from the record label, United Artists, to release it as a single, it went on to become Rafferty's signature song. Baker Street inspired by his experiences navigating legal battles and traveling between Glasgow and London for meetings with lawyers. He often stayed on Baker Street where they would sit and chat or play guitar through the night. Rafferty's songwriting captured a sense of liberation. The single soared the charts all over the world, going to number 3 in the UK, number 2 in the US, and number 1 in Australia, while the album sold over 5.5 million copies, surpassing the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack in the US. For Rafferty, this marked his first significant taste of success, transcending past disappointments with previous projects. Featuring a memorable saxophone riff in the song Baker Street, played by Raphael Ravenscroft, there were disputed origins. Rafferty claimed authorship of the riff, which were proven accurate, appearing in the original electric guitar demo version of the song. Baker Street is a soft rock radio staple, recognized by BMI for surpassing 5 million plays worldwide. Rafferty noted its profitability, earning him about PS 80,000 annually. Despite loathing a dance cover by Undercover, it brought in PS 1.5 million, with Rafferty rejecting offers to use Baker Street in advertising. Right down the line, the second single from City to City reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and number 1 on the Hot Adult Contemporary Tracks charts. Rafferty's album Night Owl saw success with guitarist Richard Thompson featuring on Take the Money and Run. The title track reached number 5 in the UK in 1979, while Days Gone Down hit number 17 in the US. The subsequent single, Get It Right Next Time, also made it into the UK and US Top 40. Rafferty's later albums, including Snakes and Ladders in 1980, Sleepwalking in 1982, and North and South in 1988, experienced less success, partly attributed to his discomfort with live performances. In 1980, Rafferty and Murphy collaborated on a record for Linda Thompson, which later morphed into their album Shoot Out the Lights. Sleepwalking marked a departure from Rafferty's usual style, with Christopher Neal replacing Murphy as producer, introducing synthesizers and drum machines for a harder sound. The album's introspective lyrics reflected Rafferty's exhaustion and desire for change as he sought to move away from the pressures of fame and continue to explore themes of alienation in tracks like Standing at the Gates and Change of Heart. In 1983, Rafferty featured on the soundtrack of the film Local Hero, singing The Way It Always Starts, written by Mark Knopfler. That same year, he announced a hiatus to prioritize family time, reflecting on his whirlwind touring schedule since the success of Baker Street. Settling at Thai Farm in Hartfield, he focused on his personal life, installing electric gates for privacy and building a recording studio. Rafferty continued to collaborate with Hugh Murphy, co-producing band The Proclaimers with their debut K-hit single, Letter from America, in 1987. According to his former wife Carla, Rafferty was stalling for time, recognizing he had reached a turning point in his music career. He emphasized the distinction between artistic integrity and the industry's focus on celebrity fame and product sales. In a 1988 interview with Colin Irwin, he expressed discomfort with the latter, stating it wasn't for him due to inherent contradictions. Despite mixed reviews, his 1988 album, North and South, showcased Rafferty's interest in production and film soundtracks, even mentioning the possibility of a musical about Robert Louis Stevenson's life. In the early 1990s, Rafferty collaborated with Barbara Dickson on a cover of Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changin'. Dickson, who had previously provided backing vocals for Rafferty's albums City to City and Night Owl, included the track on her albums Don't Think Twice It's Alright in 1992, and later with the Barbara Dickson Collection in 2006. Rafferty released 2 more albums in the 1990s, which marked a significant return to form, according to musician Tom Robinson. On a Wing and a Prayer, in 1992, featured collaborations with his Steelers Wheel partner Joe Egan on several tracks, as well as 3 songs co-written with his brother Jim, also a singer-songwriter. His album, Over My Head, in 1994, included a new version of his Humblebum song, Her Father Didn't Like Me Anyway. These albums were the last ones produced with Hugh Murphy, who passed away in 1998, which was a great blow to Rafferty, also ending a creative partnership that spanned nearly 30 years. By the late 1990s, Rafferty embraced new technology, setting up a mobile recording studio with sound engineer Giles Twigg in London. They recorded his album, Another World, across various locations, collaborating with musicians like Mark Knopfler and Joe Egan. Rafferty promoted and sold the album independently through his company Icon Music, using a website dedicated to the project. Initially available only through direct orders, Another World eventually found a wider release on the Hypertension label in 2003, with an esoteric vibe and illustrated by John Patrick Byrne. The album marked a departure for Rafferty, who saw it as a direct expression of his creative vision. He embraced this new approach, feeling liberated from the constraints of the traditional music industry. In subsequent years, Rafferty explored free music downloads on his website, although this venture was short-lived, and the website eventually closed without explanation. In November 2009, Rafferty released his last album, Life Goes On, under the Hypertension music label. The album comprises 18 tracks, including 6 new recordings, covers of Christmas carols, and traditional songs previously available on his website. Additionally, remastered tracks from his previous 3 albums are featured. In 1965, when Rafferty was 18, he met Carla Ventilla, 15, an apprentice hairdresser of Italian heritage at a dance hall, a story he later immortalized in song Shipyard Town. They married in 1970, residing in Scotland with their daughter Martha Mary, before relocating to southern England in the late 1970s. Their life between a farm near the Kent-Sussex border and a Hampstead home inspired many of Rafferty's songs, reflecting his lengthy commutes and the family's experiences. However, their marriage ended in divorce in 1990, attributing mainly to his alcoholism, with Carla later expressing she would have stayed if there had been even a slight chance of his recovery. Rafferty started drinking at a young age, with early songs openly referencing alcohol, reflecting his long-standing relationship with it. Despite this, his manager was unaware of the seriousness of his addiction. The death of his brother Joseph in 1995 deeply affected him, some suggesting he never fully recovered from it. In his later years, Rafferty battled both alcohol addiction and depression, shunning the fame he once had. His struggles, hidden from the public eye, took a toll on his relationships, leaving loved ones feeling helpless amidst his despair. In 2008, Rafferty entered a relationship with Enzina Fucini, who described witnessing his deep despair with alcoholism, feeling as though he was under an evil spell. In July 2008, Gerry Rafferty got in the midst of a troubling episode at the 5-star Westbury Hotel in Mayfair, London. During a 4-day drinking binge, he caused extensive damage to his room. The hotel's director, speaking to The Independent, described Rafferty as a kind man who generally kept to himself and did not disturb other guests. However, it was clear to him that Rafferty was on a self-destructive path. Following this incident, reports about Rafferty's whereabouts were conflicting. Some suggested he had checked into a hospital for a liver condition, while others claimed he had simply vanished. Eventually, it was revealed that he was hiding in the south of England, being cared for by a friend. Despite some optimistic reports about his health and plans for new music, Rafferty continued to struggle with alcoholism. During this turbulent period, Rafferty met Enzina Fucini, an Italian artist. The two rented a home in Upton near Poole and became engaged on Christmas Eve in 2009. However, by November 2010, Rafferty's health had deteriorated significantly. He was admitted to the Royal Bournemouth Hospital with multiple organ failures and was placed on life support. Although he showed brief signs of improvement, he succumbed to liver failure on January 4, 2011, at his daughter Martha's home in Stroud, Gloucestershire, at the age of 63. A requiem mass was held for Rafferty at St. Miriam's Cathedral in Paisley on January 21, 2011. The service was attended by notable figures such as Alex Salmond, as well as musicians like the Proclaimers and Barbara Dixon. Rafferty was cremated at the Woodside Crematorium in Paisley, and his ashes were scattered on the island of Iona. He left behind his daughter Martha, granddaughter Celia, and brother Jim. In October 2011, it was reported that Rafferty's immediate family inherited his PS $1.25 million estate, as he had not updated his will after meeting Enzina Fucini in 2008, leaving her without an inheritance. Fucini contested the will but ultimately lost the case, with PS $75,000 in legal costs awarded against her. In November 2012, Paisley honored Rafferty by naming a street after him, Gerry Rafferty Drive, in the Shortroods area. Director Gordon Laurie described it as a fitting tribute to the musician. On September 3, 2021, Parlophone UK released Rest in Blue, an album completed by his daughter Martha Rafferty. The album, crafted from demos left by Gerry, features blues, rock, and folk tracks that he had intended for a new album before his passing. Today, Gerry Rafferty's songs continue to resonate with audiences, reminding us of the power of music to transcend time and circumstance. How about you? Which of his songs do you love the most? If you used to or still be a fan of Gerry Rafferty, please comment his name below. Finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your favorite Rafferty song in the comments below. Until next time, keep listening, keep discovering, and keep the music alive.